Why does keeping the peace feel like swallowing a razor blade? We are going to perform an autopsy on your morality. We are going to crack open the chest cavity of your personality, and we are going to extract the tumor that is slowly killing you. You feel it right now. It is a heaviness in the center of the chest. You are tired, but it is not the fatigue of labor. It is not the clean exhaustion of a day spent building an empire. It is a bone-deep exhaustion. It is a heaviness that sits in the marrow. It is the rot of the soul. You look in the mirror. You see a good person. You see someone who is kind. You see someone who is accommodating. You see someone who keeps the peace at all costs. But I look at you, and I see a person who is drowning. I see a nervous system that is frying its own circuits. You say yes when your entire biology screams no. You smile when your instincts are telling you to bare your teeth. You shrink yourself. You compress your spirit into a small dense cube, just so you can fit into the tiny spaces that others allow you to occupy. And you tell yourself a story. You tell yourself that this is virtue. You tell yourself that you are taking the high road. But let us be honest. Let us strip away the lies you use to sleep at night. Has this strategy brought you peace? Has it brought you respect? Has it delivered the quiet life you were promised? No, it has brought you chaos. It has made you a beacon for parasites. It has made you a feeding ground for those who hunt for weakness. You have confused being harmless with being good, and there is a terrible difference. A rabbit is not virtuous because it does not eat the wolf. The rabbit is simply harmless. It has no choice. It is biologically incapable of violence. There is no morality in incapacity. To be truly good, you must have the capacity for great destruction and the discipline to withhold it. If you have a sword and you keep it sheathed, that is peace. If you do not have a sword, and you stand there smiling while they take everything from you, that is not peace. That is merely waiting to be slaughtered. The world tells you to be a sheep, but your biology screams for you to be a wolf. Today we are going to listen to the biology. We are going to dismantle the programming of the prey animal, and we are going to install the operating system of the predator to protect your peace. You cannot just be a gardener. You must become a monster, and then you must learn to control it. Let us look at the hardware. Let us strip away the poetry and look at the machine. Why do you act this way? Why does the thought of conflict make your hands shake? Why does the idea of asserting a boundary make you feel nauseous? You think this is a personality trait. You call yourself an empath. You call yourself a peacemaker. This is incorrect. This is a biological subroutine. It is a trauma response hardwired into your nervous system. Most people are familiar with fight or flight, but there is a fourth response. It is the survival strategy of the ultimate prey. It is called the Fawn Response. When a mammal faces a predator that it cannot fight, and a predator that it cannot outrun, it has one final option. It omits. It becomes small. It becomes useful. It tries to merge with the desires of the predator. It hopes that if it is compliant enough, the predator will not eat it. This is the origin of your niceness. It is not a moral choice. It is a fear response. Your amygdala detects a threat. Maybe it is a loud boss. Maybe it is a critical partner. Maybe it is just the judgment of a stranger in a grocery store. Your vagus nerve signals your body to shut down its defenses. This is the dorsal vagal state. You flood with cortisol, but instead of mobilizing that energy to fight, you turn it inward. You implode. You use that massive surge of energy to strangle your own voice. You swallow the anger. You swallow the truth. You engage in what we call pathological accommodation. You anticipate the needs of others before they even ask. You monitor their micro-expressions to ensure they are not displeased. You become a hyper-vigilant servant, and the biological cost is catastrophic. Suppression is an active process. It takes more caloric energy to hide an emotion than to express it. You are running a high-friction algorithm 24 hours a day. You are burning out your IM just trying to remain polite. This is why you are exhausted. Your body is fighting a war against itself, and nature looks at you with disdain, because nature does not reward the harmless. Evolution does not select for the nice. It selects for the capable. It elects for the formidable. Your ancestors did not survive the Ice Age by being polite to the saber-toothed tiger. They survived because they were dangerous. They survived because they could tap into aggression when it was required. You have this hardware inside you, but you have buried it under layers of social conditioning. You have severed the connection to your own aggression. Aggression is not evil. Aggression is simply energy. It is the fuel that drives you forward. It is the dopamine that seeks resources. It is the testosterone that defends territory. It is the adrenaline that protects the tribe. When you amputate your own aggression, you are not killing a demon. You are castrating your own soul. You are removing the engine from the current, wondering why it will not move. You are trying to drive through life with the parking brake engaged, and the smell of burning rubber is the smell of your own potential dying. Now we must look at the trap. We must look at the darkness that surrounds you. We must analyze the ecosystem you are living in. When you present yourself as harmless, you are not invisible. You are broadcasting a signal into the void. It is a specific frequency, and there are entities that are tuned to receive it. We call them the predators. These are the narcissists, the energy vampires, the Machiavellian operators. They do not choose their victims at random. They scan the herd. They look for the ones who look down. They look for the ones who apologize for taking up space. They look for the ones who smile when they are insulted. They look for you. When you suppress your shadow, you create a power vacuum, and nature abhors a vacuum. These predators step in to fill the space you vacated. They trample your boundaries because you never built a wall. They drain your resources because you never locked the gate. And here is the cruelest joke of all. The more you give, the more they take. You think that if you give them enough, eventually they will be satisfied. Eventually they will see your goodness and treat you with kindness. This is a delusion. Predators do not feel gratitude for the meat. They simply eat until there is nothing left. Your submission triggers their aggression. It is a biological lock and key. Your weakness invites their cruelty. It is not personal. It is predatory mechanics. But the danger is not just external. The danger is internal. Carl Jung, the architect of the shadow, he warned us about this. He said that the brighter the light, the darker the shadow. When you repress your capacity for being a monster, you do not get rid of it. You push it into the basement of your subconscious, and down there in the dark, it grows, it mutates, it becomes toxic, it turns into resentment, it turns into bitterness. It becomes a low-level hum of rage that vibrates in your bones. Have you ever snapped? Have you ever exploded over something small? A spilled cup of coffee, a slow driver, a comment that was not meant to be an insult. That was your shadow breaking out of the cage because you refused to integrate it. It possessed you. The nice person is capable of the most terrifying cruelty because they have no experience controlling their dark side. They disconnect from it until it detonates. You see this in the eyes of the resentful. They are polite on the surface, but their eyes are dead. They are plotting. They are keeping score. They are waiting for the moment the structure collapses so they can watch it burn. This is the decay of the soul. You are rotting from the inside out. You are buying into a civilization that demands your domestication. But you are not a domestic animal. You are a primate. You are a hunter. You are a descendant of survivors who fought tigers and navigated the apocalypse. And you are sitting in a cubicle afraid to send any mail. The disparity between your hardware and your software is tearing you apart. It is time to stop the rot. It is time to descend into the basement. It is time to meet the monster. And instead of killing him, you are going to shake his hand. We arrive at the pivot. This is where the uncomfortable truth must be swallowed. You think you are protecting the peace, but you are actually enabling war. When you do not set a boundary, you are teaching people that you are property. When you do not show your teeth, you are teaching the world that you are food. You must reframe your understanding of the word monster. I do not mean evil. I do not mean cruel. I mean formidable. I mean dangerous. I mean capable. Think of the ocean. It is beautiful. It is peaceful. But you respect it because you know it can drown you. Think of the mountain. It is majestic. But you respect it because you know it can kill you. You must become like the ocean. You must become like the mountain. You must have a lurking danger beneath the surface. This is what creates gravity. This is what creates charisma. People are drawn to those who are dangerous but controlled. It signals high status. It signals a high-value mate. It signals a leader. When you are harmless, you are ignored. When you are dangerous, you are monitored. And when you are monitored, you are respected. You must accept that you have the capacity for malevolence. You have the hardware to hurt people. You have the hardware to ruin reputations. You have the hardware to destroy. Acknowledge this. Do not hide from it. Own it. Say to yourself, I am a dangerous thing, and that is why my kindness matters. Your kindness is only valuable if it is a choice. If you have no other option but to be kind, your kindness is worthless trash. It is just compliance. But if you could burn the house down, and you choose to build a fire in the hearth instead, that is virtue. That is sovereignty. We need a protocol. We need to install the software that allows you to weaponize this truth. We cannot just talk about philosophy. We must alter your behavior in the physical world. We will deploy 3 specific mechanisms. These are the tools of the integrated monster. The first tool is called the shadow audit. This is a meditative practice, but it is not peaceful. You must sit in silence. You must go into the dark room of your mind, and you must ask yourself a terrifying question. What am I actually capable of? If someone hurt my family, what would I do? If someone destroyed my life, how would I retaliate? Do not censor the thoughts. Let the violent images rise. Let the cruel strategies form. Look at them. Do not act on them. Just look at them. Realize that this software exists in your brain. This is your nuclear arsenal. You need to know you have it. Not so you can use it, but so you can walk with the confidence of a superpower. A nation with nuclear weapons walks differently than a nation without them. You walk with the weight of consequence. When you know what you are capable of, you stop seeking validation, because you know that you are the one who holds the power. This changes your micro-expressions. It changes your posture. It lowers the pitch of your voice. It signals to the limbic system of others that you are not prey. You are a dormant volcano, and that commands respect. The second tool is called the velvet guillotine. This is how you handle conflict. The old you would explain. The old you would justify. The old you would beg for understanding. The monster does not beg. The monster decides. When someone crosses a line, you do not explode. Explosions are for children. Explosions are a loss of control. You execute. You use the velvet guillotine. It is sharp. It is fast. And it is silent. You state the boundary. You state the consequence. And then you stop talking. If you speak to me that way again, I will end the conversation. Period. No explanation. No apology. No sentences starting with I feel. Just the rule of law. And when they test you, and they will test you, You drop the blade. You end the conversation. You walk away. You hang up the phone. You enforce the consequence with zero emotion. This is terrifying to a manipulator. They thrive on your emotional reaction. They feed on your drama. When you give them nothing but cold execution, you starve them. You become a wall of obsidian. They break themselves against you. This requires you to override your empathy. Empathy is a tool. It is not a lifestyle. You must learn to turn it off. When you are under attack, empathy is a vulnerability in the firewall. Close the port. The third tool is called the predator stare. We communicate primarily through nonverbal signals. 90% of communication is biological, not linguistic. You have been trained to make yourself small, to break eye contact, to hunch your shoulders, to smile when you are uncomfortable. This is the submission signal. You must retrain the hardware. When you feel threatened, do not smile. For the love of all that is holy, stop smiling. The smile is a submission signal in the primate world. It says I am no threat. When you are challenged, the face must go dead. The eyes must lock on. You look at the bridge of their nose. You do not blink. You slow your breathing. You expand your physical space. Take up the armrest. Spread your legs. Open your chest. You are broadcasting a new signal. I am not in danger. You are. This triggers a primal alarm in the brain of the other person. Their amygdala will detect a threat. They will feel an inexplicable urge to back down. They will not know why. They will just feel that the atmosphere has changed. You have shifted the polarity of the room. You have become the gravity. This is how you protect your peace. Not by begging for it, but by commanding it. This applies in the boardroom. This applies in the relationship. This applies on the street. You must master the art of non-verbal dominance. It is the language of the unconscious mind, and it speaks louder than any word you could ever say. We must address the fear. You are afraid that if you do this, people will leave you. You are afraid that you will be alone. Let me give you the truth. When you become the monster, you will lose people. You will lose the parasites who were attached to your weakness. You will lose the manipulators who relied on your compliance. You will lose the people who loved you only because you were easy to control. Let them go. They were not friends. They were infections. You are clearing the dead wood from the forest. You are purifying your empire. Do not mourn the loss of a disease. Celebrate the return of your health. You are moving towards sovereignty. Sovereignty is the state of needing nothing from the outside world to sustain your internal state. The sovereign does not need them to be nice. The sovereign does not need them to agree. The sovereign has a fortress, and inside that fortress, there is a monster guarding the gate. And because the monster is guarding the gate, the king can sleep. The king can create. The king can love. You cannot love freely if you are afraid. You can only love fully when you are safe. And you are only safe when you are dangerous. This is the paradox of power. The warrior is the only one capable of true tenderness. Because the warrior does not love out of need. He loves out of abundance. He loves because he chooses to, not because he is afraid of being abandoned. This is the evolution you must undergo. You must kill the fawn, and you must birth the wolf. Look at the timeline of history. Look at the great figures, the philosophers, the leaders, the warriors. None of them were harmless. Marcus Aurelius led armies. Miyamoto Musashi killed 60 men in duels before he wrote on philosophy. Their peace was earned through the capacity for war. You are part of this lineage. Your DNA is a record of victory. Your ancestors were the ones who survived. They were the ones who fought. Do not dishonor them by acting like a victim. Do not dishonor your biology by pretending to be a plush toy. You are a biological machine designed for conquest. Rewire the system. Accept the shadow. Sharpen the teeth. You have spent your life trying to shrink so that you would not disturb the world. It is time to stop shrinking. It is time to expand. It is time to take up the space that belongs to you. When you walk into a room, people should feel a subtle shift in the air. They should feel that you are kind, not because you have to be, but because you are choosing to hold back the storm. That is power. That is peace. The world is chaotic. The world is predatory. Do not go out there as a sheep. Go out there as the wolf who walks as a man. Protect your peace with the ferocity of a demon, and let the silence of your strength be the loudest thing in the room. We are Mind Ministry, and we are watching.